Hello, this is Brett Lonsdale from Lightning Tools. In this video, we're going to take a look at the new Lightning Tools Form Migrator to migrate some InfoPath forms into SharePoint lists powered by Lightning Forms. So the first thing I'm going to do here inside the Form Migrator is to create a new library, which is going to be the repository for the forms that we want to migrate. So we're going to hit New, and this allows me to give that library a name. So I'm just going to call this InfoPath Forms. And of course, you can put a mixture of different forms into this library. It's just going to be my way of organizing them. And in here, we'll just add a description as well. And then I'm going to hit create. And as you can see, the Lightning Tools Form Migrator guides us through how to import your form. So we've got the next step to add the forms, which we can now do. And we can add the forms in a couple of different ways. We can point to a SharePoint form library, which is in SharePoint on premises or SharePoint online. That, of course, is going to be quite suitable for InfoPath forms. We can then configure how we're going to authenticate with that environment and so on here as well. Or we can also opt for the file system. So if we have an Excel form, PDF forms, or InfoPath form designs, such as the XSN files, we can either point to a folder, or we can also use the file picker to pick them one by one. So that's going to be the option that I'm going to do. I'm just going to open up the file picker here. And as you can see on my desktop, I've got a few sample forms, including this one here, the volunteer form, which is a PDF. Yeah, let's just highlight all of those, open those up, and we'll add those forms to our form library. So they've now been added. And what we can do is, again, just walk through the wizard. We can select all and analyze them. So when we analyze them, this is going to give us an idea as to what's involved in actually migrating those forms. And I'm going to just step out of the wizard for a moment by hitting close. And what you'll see in here is it's scored each of the forms in terms of complexity. So we've got easy and basic forms, and what that basically means here is the complexity, which you can see there's a score across the top as to how difficult it is to migrate those forms. And what will make those forms more difficult is things like code behind and things like that to perform the migration. So what you can do with these selected, like I say, is analyze them. We can also use a return on investment calculator as well. So if you're trialing the Lightning Tools Form Migrator, you can step into here, you can see that it's read the amount of basic forms, the amount of easy forms inside of my environment. It's given us an estimation and the time spent in hours in order to manually create these forms versus the time in hours to use the migrator. And it's actually going to be a lot quicker than that estimation. But you can see in here, it gives you a return on investment indication as to how long you think it's going to take. And you can calculate the hourly cost for the resource who's going to actually perform that form conversion as well. As you can see, if we start to increase this, maybe if we had 50 moderate forms to migrate, then again, it will give us the estimate of the savings there of using a migrator. So let's just step out of that. With that now closed, what we can do is read a form. So I'm just going to take this down to one, which is the employment application form here. And I'm going to hit read. And what this will do is allow me to preview what the form is going to look like in this uniform previewer. And it's just a sort of intermediary ground that allows us to test out the form. So this is how the InfoPath form has been read. You can see that we've got the logo as well as a rich text area. We have a mixture of single column and multiple column sections with the fields in there, and then we've also got these repeating sections within inside that InfoPath environment as well, and also the ability to attach files. So you can see if we did have multiple views as well, they're also going to show at the top there. We can test all of those out. So that records that reading, so we can always go back to that if we need to. But if we're happy with what it created for us, we can now write that out. And I'm going to write it out to the SharePoint site that you can see here in the background. So let's just jump into that for a moment. I'm going to hit the site contents. And what you'll see in here is that this is a brand new SharePoint site. It's just got the default lists and libraries in there. So let's just step back home, and I'm going to grab the URL to that site. So we'll just fetch that, and let's now hit the write option to write this out. And what I'm going to do is write this out to a new connection. So I'm going to point to this particular SharePoint site. I'm going to use my browser login. Let's test that connection. So that's opened up the site okay. And as you can see, that connection test was successful. Okay, so we're able to connect to that site. Notice we've then got the SharePoint list. So this is going to be named after the form that we're going to migrate. So my form is called Employee Application. We could change that if we want to. And also notice that we can choose what to do if the list already exists. So if you're maybe making multiple attempts at doing the migration, you can choose whether you want to overwrite the list or update the list as well. So I'm just going to hit go on this, and again, it's loaded the site for me. So let's just close that. Let's go into the SharePoint site here. Click onto Site Contents once more, and as you can see, it's created for me multiple lists. So the list that it's created, the employment applications, is the main form that we saw in the preview, and it's also created each of those repeating sections as sublists. So let's just go into the to the main employment applications list, and you'll be able to see what has taken place. So we'll hit new. So we're going to create a new SharePoint item. And you can see it looks just like it did inside the previewer. So we've got the rich text area with the title. We've also got the Lightning, the Kudzu logo here, and then we've also got each of those sections created. So the single column sections, the multi-column section. As we scroll down, you'll see we've got the education sublist, references sublist, and previous employment sublist. So these were the repeating sections inside of InfoPath. And we've got that ability to also add attachments to this as well if we need to. And what you'll also see is any lookup columns and things like that. Their values have also come across in there. Now, there may be things that you want to change. So what we can do is just close that down. And of course, if you own a license of Lightning Forms as well, you can come into here and you can customize each of these forms. So if we take the new form, we can hit the customize option on that. It will take us into the Lightning Forms experience, and now we can begin to change that layout of the form and also add further logic and things like that if we want to. So just a quick play around, we'll hit the configure expression on here. You can see there's different things that we can configure, such as when this field is visible, when it's enabled. We've also got validation options in there. We can create calculated values and things like that using a calculated expression builder. And we could also go in and create some actions. So if I wanted to have a submit button, for example, rather than just a save and a cancel, I can go through and add my submit button and then configure some actions for that submit button. So we can do things like send email, we can update field values on the form, that type of thing. There's a lot more involved with Lightning Forms. I'm just quickly showing you some of the different things that you could do to further customize the form that you've migrated if you wanted to add to what the migration has also created for you. But if you want to learn specifically about Lightning Forms, we do have some videos on that as well. Just look up Lightning Forms on the Lightning Tools website. Okay, so that is migrating an InfoPath form over to obviously our SharePoint list with the customized form. If you migrated from a form library, you've also got the option to migrate the data and not just the actual form design. So with that, you can map the fields and so on and port that data across. It is developed as a desktop application, which means that's installed on your network, which means that also none of your existing form data that may be captured inside of a form library is processed outside of your network. It's all within inside that desktop application. And of course, would go across from your SharePoint on-premises environment to your SharePoint Online environment as you push it out. All right, if you want to know more, then please feel free to book a demo, or you can also download a trial and give this a go as well. All right, many thanks.